Good morning. Welcome to AMI Day 4. Okay, so today for AMI Day 4, we are revisiting multiplying decimals. We did touch back on this the other day. There was a question in our lesson where we had to remember and revisit this. And so I am glad that we are doing this today for the practice. So whenever you multiply decimals, we are not going to worry about the decimals until we have the product, until we are finished. We have our answer, then we worry about where our decimals go. So that's different from when you add and subtract decimals. You want to make sure those decimals and all those place values are lined up. But when you multiply them, you set up the multiplication problem like any other multiplication problem, and we keep the decimals there, but we kind of ignore them until we are ready for them. We are not ready for them until we find our product. And I am going to show you 3 different ways that your student might be multiplying, and I'm going to start with the standard algorithm, which is the method that you know and most of our students use. There are some that use box method and use partial products. We will cover both of those with the same problem, so that way, whichever method your student uses or is more comfortable with, you'll know what they're doing. So let's get started with the first one. It's 48 and 5/10 multiplied by 1 and 1/10. However, we're going to forget those decimals are there, and we're going to multiply it just like any other 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication problem. So we're going to start in our ones place, and we're going to multiply that through. We're going to distribute that through our top number. So 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 8 is 8, and 1 times 4 is 4. Then we are going to drop a 0. We call that drop Fred. Don't forget to drop Fred, because Fred pushes us over to our tens place. This is our tens place. Ones place, tens place. And we need to make sure that we start putting our numbers in the tens place first. So the 0 is our placeholder to remind us to do that. So we have 1 times 5 is 5, because essentially this isn't 1 times 5. This is 10 times 5, which is 50. Because this 1, it's a digit 1, but it's in the tens place, so it represents the amount of 10. 10 times 8, or 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. And now we add this together, and we have 5. 13, carry the 1. And our answer is 5335. And now we add in our decimal. So to know where our decimal point goes, we go up to our problem and we count how many digits are behind a decimal. So how many digits are on this side or on the right side of the decimal all together. So on this number we have 1, on this number we have 1, with a total of 2. So that means we're going to start here at the end of our number, and we're going to hop up 2 places, and that's where our decimal goes. So our final answer is 53 and 35 hundredths. And we are doing inverse operation. You take this number and divide it by this number to get this 550 and 35 hundredths divided by 1.1. Now with division, the way we work with the decimal points is you cannot have a divisor with a decimal point. So you have to move it this way. You're essentially multiplying that number by 10, and what you do to this number, you have to do that number. But multiplying that number by 10 will get you the same resulting number with the decimal point moved 1 place to the right. So when you do that, this decimal point goes 1 place. So now we have 11. But what you do to this number, you also do to this number, so then that moves 1. Since I made all these marks, I'm going to come over here. Hold on. So let's rewrite this. Got all my markings on it. I'll end up with 11, 50, 30, and 5/10. And now we divide. And in yesterday's video, I showed you the several different ways that you could divide. So 11 will not go into 5, so we're moving over here. 11 will go into 53 times without going over. 4, subtract 9 down 3. 11 will go in there 8 times without going over. Subtract. We have 5. And the decimal point with division, so goes just straight up. It takes the elevator straight up, so it will sit right there. And then our answers match. We are correct. All right. So we have multiplied, we've done inverse operation. We are correct. Move on to the next one. However, we are going to do this again, but we are going to a different method of multiplication. We are going to use box method. So again, when you begin, the decimal points are there for you to reference when you're finished, or when you're ready for them, when you get your product. But right now, we're going to pretend like they're not there. And you have 3 digits and 2 digits. So you're going to need a box that has 3 columns and 2 rows. Okay, so 485, remember we're ignoring the decimal temporarily, and we're going to write that number in expanded form, which would be 400 plus 80 plus 5. This number will be 10 plus 1. So over here, you're going to have 10 plus 1. 10's for this row, 1 is for that row. 400, that's for this column. It's 80 plus 5. And now you're going to go through and multiply. So you're going to multiply 10 times 400 is 4,000. 10 times 80 is 800. 10 times 5, which is 50. Now let's do our 1. 1 times 400 is 400. 1 times 80 is 80. 1 times 5 is 5. And now we add all these together. 4,000 plus 800, 400 plus 5. 5, 3, 3, 5. And now we go in and put our decimal places. We have 1, 2 numbers past the decimal point. 2. Here we go. Okay. That's box. Now we're going to do partial products, which is very, very similar to box method. In mind and remember, you're going to write, you know what this number is in expanded form without the decimals. 5, 1. So you know the value of those digits and the place that they hold. We're going to start in the tens place. And we're going to do 1, which is actually 10. 10 times 4, which is actually 400. So 10 times 400 is 4,000. 10 times 80 is 800. 10 times 5 is 50. Now we're going to go here. 1 times 400 is 400. 1 times 80 is 80. And 1 times 5 is 5. And then add them all together. Put in our decimal. Same answer, 3 different ways to get there. And don't forget to do inverse operation. And I hope this helped. There's lots of videos on YouTube on how to multiply decimals. Mr. J has some. Math Antics has some. But if you need further help, you can reach out to me on Dojo or send me an email. And I'll do what I can. So enjoy your AMI Day 4.